Hi there, it is Bobby Joe with Skyline Properties and the Bobby Joe Sells Homes team. Today I wanted to talk to you just a little bit about what you should expect from your real estate agent and just share a little recent story that we have. I currently had a referral come to me for a client who was moving from Alabama. And when they're moving here, we're trying to find a house for them quickly. The husband has had a job transfer that came to here to our beautiful state of Washington, and they were pretty quick on making their decision for the house they wanted. And their house that they had where they're moving from already had an offer on it. And so the week of our closing, when you're trying to do a simultaneous closing, that means you're trying to close from one house and take those net proceeds and put them towards your new house. But when you're coming from two separate states, it makes an extra layer of chaos that can happen. And there's so many steps that have to happen between selling and purchasing to have one home go through the whole entire process and record, and then another home to do that. Like it's like taking a relay wand. You know, when one closes, they hand the wand off to the new escrow place, and then they can start all of their protocols to get the new house closed. So anyways, we're so close to closing on their house that was out of state, and the week of closing, we find out that their buyers are not working out. You know, they have to change financing. With all these changes with the new president right now, there's new protocols for people who are not residents of the United States. It all was coming into play at this time. And the agent made it sound like she was so confident that we were going to close still. We just needed a 1 week extension. Graciously, the sellers here in Washington were like, yeah, no problem. We'll give you another week. Well, we also, my buyers were staying in temporary housing, and it was really far out. So we're like, you know, could we please rent your house for this 1 week until we get closing? And they said, no problem. So we fill out a rental agreement. I'm protecting my clients. They're in the house for the 1 more week. Because we signed an extension for only 1 more week, they only had to grant our terms for that 1 more week. And at the end of the week, the other agent was saying, sorry, it's not working out. And then the agent who had the house listed was like, oh my gosh, the seller, you know, is upset here too, and he does not want to extend the rent. So for about 24 hours, I was stressing. I'm not sleeping because now I have clients who are from out of state. They don't know a single person here, and they're so far from their family. They were trying to look into getting rentals. So they're trying to find out, you know, could they just get into an apartment for a while, and their debt of owning that home in a different state counted against their debt to income. And so they didn't even meet the requirements to get into an apartment. So, and our rents here are a lot higher than they are from where they came from. There's just all these layers. And so, you know, my husband and I were staying up late at night trying to think, you know, what can we do to help this family? You know, we're even thinking like, could we let them stay in our guest rooms for a while? Do we take our RV to a campground? I'm staying in our RV. Like, we're just trying to solve the problems. And the moral of the story is, when you have a real estate agent for you, working for you, I think it's very important, one, to make sure that they do it full time. They're very passionate about it, but they're also thinking creatively. Like, through this whole process, I was trying to help my client think creatively on the other side and give him advice for what was going on in the other state, and trying to be realistic about where I thought the process was for closing or not closing. And his agent on that side was not being as flexible, or, you know, she's like, I told him when the buyers couldn't close that second time, like, well, make sure your agent is doing open houses this weekend. And then she told him, well, I can't do open houses because the lawn's too tall. I'm like, are you kidding me? Like, why is that even an issue? Like, she should have been talking to you about earlier, saying, hey, the lawn's getting long. Do you mind if we hire, you know, Johnny's kid down the block to come and mow it, you know, and just solving your problems. And she wasn't thinking outside the box at all. And it was making the whole process very hard. So this morning, or last night when I'm going to bed, that same client calls me, and he's like, hey, you know, all of a sudden they can close now, but because of the state that our documents are from, we require not just a notary, we have to have a third party witness just to know that we're signing the documents. You know, he's like, could you be down here at 8 o'clock in the morning to help be our witness? And I'm like, yes, we'll figure it out. If I move my calendar around, we'll figure it out. Like, if we're this close, you know, the answer is yes, I'll be there. So this morning I had to get up extra early to go down to Olympia to be there, but I'm just so thankful it's all working out for these clients. But there's just so many layers that could not not have gone right, and there were getting to be problems I couldn't solve, and it was nerve-wracking. So I try all the time to call my clients with with solutions, not with problems. But in that scenario, when I didn't have a place for them to go, in my head, I was talking with my husband, and thankfully he was like, if it comes to it, we have to, we'll pull our travel trailer out of our garage, and we can use our trailer to store their things in there for a while in our garage space. Like, we're trying to solve their problems collectively, and I'm glad it didn't come to any of those things. But that's part of the process of working with me, is just like, when I work with clients, like, I got you, and I'm definitely going to try to solve the problems and problem solve and not leave my people hanging. So that's what you should expect from a real estate agent. It's not just always contractual paperwork stuff. It's just problem solving and trying to think outside the box, and just protecting your needs and keeping the contract going, if that's what your goal is, to close on it. So in this case, of course, my client's goal was to close on this house, and I'm so thankful that things are going to work out for them.